Hello, Tico. Thank you so much for your introduction. Thank you for announcing me as a winner. I'll never forget that. That was your voice then, remember?
Yeah, I do.
I keep rewatching the video several times.
Nice
Yeah,
energy.
refreshing the moment again and again.
Mm, very much. Thank you.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much for having me here. I'm honored. I'm really honored to welcome you all here in Africa's Voiceover Day 2025. I'll be your moderator in this exciting session titled Amplifying Local Voices for Global Reach. I am Shahinda. I'm from Egypt and I'm a voice artist. This year's theme is the spirit of Africa, as we know, celebrating the heritage, building the future. And it's a powerful reminder of the journey we have taken and the legacy we continue to create through the vibrant, diverse, and powerful voices across our continent. We are making a change, guys. Today, we are shining a spotlight on the voices that begin in our local communities and carry African stories, energy, and culture into the global conversation. Our speakers embody that mission. They are creators, trailblazers, and storytellers who have not only mastered their craft, but also they are opening doors for others too. So now let me welcome our incredible speakers for this session. First is Emeka Ononko from Nigeria. She is a pioneering casting director and voice actor and the founder of Nigerian Voice Bank and VO Africa. Emeka has been instrumental in connecting African talent with global brands like HP, Milo, and Coca-Cola. Hello, Emeka.
Hello, thank you, and thank you for the
Hi.
opportunity.
Thank you. Our second speaker is Leslie Kasumba from Uganda. She is a powerful house in African media and storytelling, and she's hosting global icons from launching She Speaks Africa podcast, The Africa Whisperer. Leslie brings a fierce passion for elevating authentic African narratives. Hello, Leslie. Welcome.
Hi, Dr. Shanita. Very nice to be here. Hi, everyone.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to
Our
meet you.
third speaker here, it's Kwesi Bozia from Ghana, a British Ghanaian voice actor with an incredible vocal range and international presence, with a law degree, wow, and a background in audiobook narration, and also has since voiced campaigns for major names like Marvel Studios and Amazon Publishing. Hello, Kwesi.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our fourth speaker in this panel, Kamiza Shikolo from Zambia, a seasoned communication expert and CEO of Fira Communications. And Kamiza brings over 2 decades of experience in marketing and PR, along with a strong voice that has powered campaigns across the region. Hello, Kamiza. Hello, Kamiza.
Okay, I'm not sure we have Kamisa tonight, so all right,
Okay.
to the next person.
Okay, so my first question here, guys, let's start and bring up some important questions that will affect our cultures in Africa. So I have a question for Kwesi. Hello, Kwesi.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so can you tell me what makes the African voice unique on the global platforms?
Sure. That's a great question. I think what makes the African voice unique on global platforms is both some positives and both some negatives. In terms of the negatives, as we were saying earlier, there are so many different African languages and dialects and accents and voices. But usually, when you go on these platforms, they blanket everything as an African accent. And as they were saying earlier as well, what we consider an African accent or a Nigerian accent or a Ugandan accent is sometimes not African enough for people in other parts of the world. They want something, I would say, a little bit more fictitious, a little bit more exaggerated, not really how people on the continent speak. So we do have some challenges on global platforms in the sense that we are somewhat underrepresented and misrepresented as well. But what I would say gives us a unique opportunity, particularly for the financial side of things, is that I find that African jobs on these platforms tend to be very lucrative because, by and large, our voices are a bit harder to find on these global platforms. We don't necessarily have the infrastructure that they have in the West to find voice actors and source voice actors easily. And we don't have the platforms like they do for American accents or British accents. So I think that gives us a unique opportunity that when you do put yourself out there as an African voice actor and you can link to your demos and show your work and show your portfolio, I think you are well compensated for having that unique sound and tone that only you can bring and fewer people in the global space can bring. And particularly with the growing use of AI voices, I think us having our own unique African and rich African voices and stories and dialects and ways of speaking and tones and rhythms, it gives us an advantage over an American accent, for example, which is so common. Even robots can do it quite convincingly these days. Our accents, our languages, our dialects are so varied and so unique that it gives us the opportunity to bring that uniqueness to projects for longer than I would think other accents can compete in that uniqueness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that really makes sense. Thank you so much, Kwesi. My next question is for Leslie. Hello.
Hi, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Leslie. Yeah, of course.
Hi.
So my question for you, Leslie, how do you maintain authenticity while adapting to international standards? How do we remain authentic to our African heritage?
I think for me, the only way that you can maintain creativity, I mean, maintain your authenticity while showing up in an international space, is to remember that if somebody has chosen you as a voice actor, they've already kind of predetermined your voice and they already know what they want, you know? Nobody's asking you to go out there and pretend to be anything else. So I think it's just showing up as yourself. I believe that as Africans, voice artists, people in the creative sector in general, we need to just show up as ourselves, especially now because the whole world is so hungry and is really discovering Africa in so many different and amazing ways. So yeah, I think that the best way is to just show up as yourself. Once you show up as yourself, you're basically you're head and shoulders above everybody else because nobody else can be you, right? So that's how
Yeah.
I think to remain authenticity.
Yes, of course. And they chose us and they know where are we from and they heard the samples, so they are sure about that. So
Yeah,
we remain Africans by the end of the day.
definitely
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, of course. Great. Thank you so much. So my next question is for Emeka. I can see that you worked as with the global brands like HP, Milo, and Coca-Cola. So what challenges have you faced breaking into international market? Emeka?
Right. Thank you for that question. I'm going to respond to that question as a casting director, because the bulk of my work is as a casting and as a casting and voice acting director.
Yeah.
If I'll take you back to Shobo's speech. Cast your mind back. I started the View Africa in 2012. Nigerian Voice Bank in 2012. In 2012, to cast Nigerian voices globally was a hurdle. People couldn't find Nigerian voices online. Now, when I noticed that there was that gap, I introduced the Nigerian Voice Bank. And what we intended to do was to bridge the gap from global brands looking to cast African voices living in Africa. Right. So because for us, the very first thing was the fact that we showed up online. We created a platform. Because we created a platform, we could be found and people could reach out to us. But it went beyond creating a platform. We also created a data bank for great voices. It was a hurdle. We wouldn't talk about the journey to get to that point of convincing talents then to get on the bank, because it was weird. It's unthinkable. People didn't know there was anything like that. But the fact that we create a platform that connected global brands to local talents was the big deal for us, was what created that opportunity. So we connected to those brands, and then when they reached out to us, we could deliver. So after the pandemic, one of the things you would also have realized is that some advertising agencies have closed, as they've closed shop in Africa. They've come to realize that, hey, they can do these jobs from wherever. They can cast talents from wherever. So we became a lot more relevant. So this brand, because their agencies are no longer based in Africa, they were looking for talents in Africa. They're looking for cheaper ways to cast voices without having local presence. And then we were there. And then we connected the talent. So that's in simple form how all of that happened. What are the challenges? Finding the talent, matching the talent to the client, and also do the sessions, which is getting the talent to understand the script, deliver the script, understand what the client is looking for, getting the talent to understand that this is professional work. It's not how you want it done, it's how the client wanted it done. But I think at this stage, we've gone past all of that.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much, Emeka. I have another question for Kwesi. You're a British Ghanaian, and you already worked with Marvel Studios and Amazon Publishing. I
Yeah.
faced that personally as well with international clients. So my question for you is, what do international clients often misunderstand about African voice talents? Sometimes they don't believe I'm from Africa, and I'm
Yeah.
really shocked why I am African. I sound like that. What's wrong with that? You know?
No, it's
So
really true. Not to
yeah.
interrupt you, but I feel like the biggest issue that we have as African voiceover artists working abroad is that they don't know what the diversity of African accents sound like. I think there is a sound and a tone that's quite presumed in the West. They think we
Mhm.
all sound like that, but we don't. There's so many different dialects and tones. People who live in two different villages apart, they're not far from each other, can sound very different based on where they were raised and how they were raised. So I think what a lot of casting directors and people misunderstand about an African accent is just because it doesn't sound like what you might have in your head is an African accent doesn't mean it's not an African accent, an authentic one
Yes.
and a legitimate one within a specific region or place in Africa.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that was really an incredible conversation, guys. It's full of passion and truth, and we really benefited from this. So a huge thank you for our amazing speakers, all of you guys, for sharing your journeys and your voices and your vision with us today. So that brings us to the end of this session, this panel. Hope that it's left you feeling inspired and powerful. So let's go back to T-Code to continue our beautiful day.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Shahenda from Egypt. It's been a pleasure watching you. I believe you can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
I can hear you now. And by the way, it's a special year. It's 5th of 5th, 2025.
Yeah.
And it's a very special number this year as well. So it's my pleasure to be here. And thank you so much, T-Code.
It's a pleasure.